Hello everyone. Today's topic is histamines and histamines receptors and the distribution in the body. How the histamine distributed in the body. So what are the learning objectives? So this lesson will help the students to understand what is histamine, how they distributed in human body, and what is antihistamines and their classification and SAR of amino alkyl ethers. Okay, these are the objectives. And what are the outcomes? After this lesson, students will be able to describe what is histamines and antihistamines, and they can also describe SAR of amino alkyl ethers, and they also know the distribution of histamine throughout the human body. So histamine, the structure of the histamine is this. The number starts from this nitrogen. So 1, 2, third position is also again the nitrogen, 4 and 5. So this is the structure of the histamine. So histose, meaning of the histose is tissue. Okay, so histamine is present almost in the mast cells. Okay, or the example of the mast cell is skin, lungs, GIT mucosa. The histamine also present in the non-mast cells. So the example of the non-mast cell is brain, gastric mucosa. Okay, so these all are the mast cells and non-mast cells where the histamine presents. And histamine is a biogenic amines present in many animals and the plant tissue. Okay, this is the histamine is a biogenic amine. Okay, so histamine is the biogenic amine that is present in many animals and the plant tissues. So histamine is a beta imidazolyl ethyl amine. Okay, it is a beta imidazolyl ethyl amine derivative present in all the mammalian tissues. Okay, so histamine is a beta imidazolyl ethyl amine derivative, and this is present in all the mammalian tissues. And the histamine was first discovered by Sir Henry Dale. Okay, Sir Henry Dale was discovered the histamine. Okay, and its synthesis occurs in mast cells, parietal cells of the gastric mucosa, CNS, and periphery. Okay, the histamine synthesis occurs in the mast cells, parietal cells of the gastric mucosa, CNS, and the periphery. And its function is an autocoid. Okay, the main function of the histamine is an autocoid and one of the mediator involved in the allergic inflammatory responses. Okay, so histamine is an autocoid and it is the one of the mediator that involved in the allergic inflammatory responses. Okay, and it has an important role in regulation of the gastric acid secretion. Okay, it has the important role in the gastric acid secretions. So this is the chemistry of the histamine. Okay, so histamine is a hydrophilic molecule, means water loving molecule. Histamine is a water loving molecule that consists of an imidazole ring. Okay, this ring is imidazole ring that contain 2 nitrogen in it. Okay, and the nitrogen present in first and third position. Okay, so this consists of an imidazole ring. Okay, and amino group. Okay, there is one another amino group that is connected with 2-methylene group. Okay, this is 2-methylene group. Okay, so the histamine is a hydrophilic molecule that consists of imidazole ring and an amino group connected with 2-methylene groups. Okay, so this is the chemistry of the histamine. So this is 2-methyl histamine because the methyl CH3 is methylene, so that is present at the second position of this histamine. So we can name it as 2-methyl histamine. Okay, and this is 4-methyl histamine because the methyl group is present at the fourth position because this NH is the first position, first, second, third, fourth, and 5. Okay, so sorry, 5-methylene 5. Okay, it is the 5-methylhistamine. Okay, 4,5-methyl. Here also contain methyl, and here also this have the methyl. So this is 4,5-methylhistamine. Okay, then so these all are the chemistry about the histamine. Okay. It contains imidazole ring and an amino group connected by 2 methylene groups. Okay. So this is the synthesis of the histamine, how they synthesize. Okay. So this is the histidine, the structure of the histidine, the same imidazole ring. Okay. Same amino group that connected with the 2 methylene group, and this methylene group is connected with carboxylic acid group. Okay, COOH, carboxylic acid group. Okay, so this is the histidine. Okay, histidine is converted to histamine with the help of L-histidine decarboxylase. Okay, this histidine is converted to histamine with the help of L-histidine decarboxylase, because this is synthesized by decarboxylation of the amino acid histidine. Okay, this amino acid histidine, and the histamine is synthesized by the decarboxylation of the amino acid. Decarboxylation means removal of the carboxylic acid. Okay, removal of this carboxylic acid is decarboxylation. Okay, so the histamine is synthesized by decarboxylation of amino acid histidine. Okay, with the help of L-histidine decarboxylation. Okay, so this is the synthesis of the histamine. Then there are histamine receptors. Okay, so histamine receptors are divided into 4 groups. Okay, so first one is H1 receptor, second one is H2 receptor, third one is H3 receptor, fourth is H4 receptors. Okay, so H1 receptor. Okay, H1 receptor. H1 receptor, what they do? 1 minute. H1 receptor, they increases the calcium ion. Okay, they increases the calcium ion, Ca2 plus. Ca2 plus is calcium ion. H1 receptors increases the calcium ion. Okay, that leads to the smooth muscle contraction. When calcium ion increases, the smooth muscle contraction occurs. Okay, that lead increased capillary permeability vasodilation. Okay, when the smooth muscle contracts, okay, then the vasodilation, capillary permeability of vasodilation will increases, and sensory nerve ending and pain itching occurs. Okay, when the H1 receptors, what they do, they increases the calcium ion, that leads to the smooth muscle contraction. Okay, that is smooth muscle contraction, and smooth muscle contraction, what they do, that increases the capillary permeability of the vasodilation. Okay, vasodilation leads to the sensory nerve ending pain and itching. Okay, this is the way the histamine reacts in our body. So this is occurs smooth muscle, vascular endothelium and brain. Okay, these all the process occurs in the smooth muscle, vascular endothelium and brain. Okay, and H2 receptor. What H2 receptors do? They increase the CAMP. CAMP means cyclic adenosine monophosphate. Okay, CAMP, cyclic adenosine monophosphate. Cyclic adenosine monophosphate. Okay, CAMP, cyclic adenosine monophosphate. So H2 receptor increases CAMP, cyclic adenomonophosphate. Okay, that increase, when the CAMP increases, the gastric acid secretion increases. Okay, when the CAMP increases, then automatically gastric acid secretion will increase. Okay, that leads blood vessel vasodilation. Okay, that lead blood vessel vasodilation, increased capillary permeability. Okay, so these process occurs in the gastric parietal cells, cardiac muscle, brain and heart. When the vasodilation increases, what happens? There must be a pain or itching. Okay, so this is the H2 receptors function. Okay, the third is H3 receptors. Okay, H3 receptor is presynaptic autoreceptor. Okay, H3 receptor is also known as presynaptic autoreceptors that decreases CAMP. Okay, that decreases CAMP. H3 receptor decreases CAMP, but H2 receptor increases the CAMP. So when CAMP reduces, the histamine release also reduces. Okay, when the CMP is reduces, the histamine release is also reduces. And same, when the histamine release reduces, then the secretion and the vasodilation also reduces. The gastric acid secretion and vasodilation also decreases. And this happens in the CNS and some peripheral nerves. Okay, H3 receptor, this is also called as presynaptic autoreceptors. Okay, presynaptic autoreceptors. Then H4 receptor is also reduces the CAMP, cyclic adenosine monophosphate. Okay, cyclic adenosine monophosphate. H4 receptor also decreases the cyclic AMP. Okay, H3 and H4 both decreases the CAMP, but H1 increases the calcium ion and H2 increases the CAMP. That both leads to the contraction and the increase the secretion of the gastric acid, and that leads the vasodilation. Okay, when the vasodilation occurs, that leads the sensory nerve ending pain and itching. Okay, so these are the receptors. Then H4 receptors, these all are present in the hematopoietic cells and the gastric mucosa. Okay, H3 receptors found in CNS and some peripheral nerves. Okay, and the H1 and H2 receptors, where they found in smooth muscle, vascular endothelium, brain, gastric parietal cells, cardiac muscle, brain, and heart. Okay, so these are the distribution of the histamine in our body. Okay, histamine receptors in our body. Okay, and these are the functions of the H1, H2, H3, and H4 receptors. So H3 and H4 receptor, what they do? They decreases the histamine release. Automatically, that decreases the secretion of the gastric mucosa. Same like that decreases the vasodilation. When the vasodilation decreases, the itching and pain reduces, or that heals. Okay, but in the case of the H1 and H2 receptor, they increases the calcium ion and increases the cyclic amino monophosphate. Both leads to the increasing the gastric acid secretion and increasing the smooth muscle contraction, and that leads to the vasodilation. When the vasodilation occurs, there must be a sensory nerve ending pain or the itching. So these all are the receptors. Histamine distribution, how the histamine distributed in our body. Okay, so almost all mammalian tissues contain histamine. Okay, almost all mammalian tissue contain histamines. Widely distributed in skin. Okay, the histamine is widely distributed in skin, GIT mucosa, lungs, brain, CSF, and bone marrow. Okay, so all the mammalian tissue contain histamine, and histamine is distributed in skin, GIT mucosa, lungs, brain, CSF, and bone marrow. It is also a component of some venoms, sting secretion, bacteria, and plants. Okay, it is also a component of some venoms, sting secretions, bacteria, and plants. The mast cell is the predominant storage site of the histamine. Okay, the storage site of the histamine is mast cells in almost all the tissues. The concentration of histamine is particularly high in tissues that contain large number of the mast cells. Okay, that the concentration of the histamine is particularly high in that tissues that contain large number of the mast cells. Okay, large number of the mast cells contain lots of the histamines, such as skin, bronchial tree mucosa and intestinal mucosa. So these all are the example of the large number of the mast cells tissues. Okay, so large number of the mast cell tissues contain the histamines, the more concentration of the histamines. Okay, so how they can synthesize, their storage and the metabolism of the histamine. Okay, this is formed by, we have already seen that how they synthesize, how the synthesis of the histamine. So let's see again. This is formed by the decarboxylation of the amino acid histidine. Okay, amino acid histidine. Okay, this is formed by the decarboxylation of the amino acid histidine by the enzyme L-histidine decarboxylase. Okay, with the help of the sorry. So this decarboxylation occurs with the help of the L-histidine decarboxylase. Okay, when amino acid histidine decarboxylize, then it form the histamine. Okay, with the help of the L-histidine decarboxylase. The chief site of the histamine storage in most tissue is the mast cell. We have already seen that. Okay, the most tissue, the mast cells is the main site of the histamine. That is blood, basophil, skins and all. Okay, so these are the main chief site of the histamine. This is metabolized to N-methylhistamine. Okay, this histamine is metabolized to N-methylhistamine by histamine N-methyltransferase and imidazole acetic acid by the non-specific enzyme diamine oxidase. Okay, this is metabolized to N-methylhistamine by histamine N-methyltransferase and imidazole acetic acid by the non-specific enzyme diamine oxidase. Okay, and these metabolites have little or no activity and are excreted in the urine. Okay, these metabolites have little or no activity. Okay, these metabolites not have any specific action and all. So, and these are excreted in the urine. So it is released from storage granules. Okay, this histamine is released from storage granules as a result of the interaction of antigen with immunoglobulin E, IgE. Okay, antibody. Okay, how they release? This is released from the storage granules. Storage granules is mast cells. Okay, mast cells. It is released from the mast cells as a result of the interaction of the antigen. When antigen and antibody interact, at that time histamine released on the mast cell surface. Okay. Okay, so it is released from the storage granules as a result of the interaction of antigen with immunoglobulin E, that is IgE antibody on the mast cell surface. Then histamine plays a central role in immediate hypersensitivity and allergic reaction. When the histamine releases with the reaction of the antigen and the antibody E, the histamine releases fastly and they play as a central role to immediate hypersensitivity reaction and allergic reaction. Okay, the hypersensitivity reaction may be sneezing, itching, okay, redness. Okay, so these all are the hypersensitivity allergic reaction. When the histamine release, this hypersensitivity or allergic responses will occur. And how they release? With the interaction of the antigen and immunoglobulin antibody. Okay, when these both react, the histamine will release. The action of histamine on bronchial smooth muscle. Okay, the action of the, what is the action of histamine on the bronchial smooth muscle and the blood vessels account for many of the symptoms of the allergic responses. Okay, when this histamine act on the bronchial smooth muscle and the blood vessels, they may produce more allergic responses. In addition, the certain clinically useful drugs can act directly on mast cells to release histamine, thereby explaining some of their untoward effects. Okay, certain clinically useful drugs are there. They can react directly on the mast cells to release the histamine. Histamine has a major role in the regulation of the gastric acid secretion. Why we releasing this histamine? Because the histamine has a major role in the regulation of the gastric acid secretion. Okay, gastric acid secretion, to regulate the gastric acid secretion, the histamine has a major role in that. Okay, so because of this action, there are clinically useful drugs are present to release the histamine, and also modulate the neurotransmitter release. Okay, the histamine has two roles. That first one is it regulates the gastric acid secretion, and it also modulates the neurotransmitter release. And histamine, the pharmacological effect. Okay, what are the pharmacological effect of the histamine? So histamine receptors are GPCRS. GPCRS means G protein coupled receptors. Okay, G protein coupled receptors. Histamine receptors are G protein coupled receptors. Okay, so we have already seen this, what is H1 receptors do, what H2 receptor does. Okay, let's see once again. H1 receptors, this mediate effect on the smooth muscles. Okay, this affects on the smooth muscle, H1 receptor, that leads to the vasodilation. Okay, that leads to vasodilation and increased vascular permeability and contraction of the non-vascular smooth muscle, and that leads to the itching and pain. Okay, when the vascular permeability is increased, the smooth muscle is, when the smooth muscle contract, the vascular permeability is increased and the vasodilations occur. When the vasodilations occur, there must be a itching and pain. Okay, so this is the H1 receptors duty. On H2 receptor, what the H2 receptors do, they mediate histamine stimulation of the gastric acid secretion. Okay, they stimulate the secretion of the gastric acid and may be involved in the cardiac stimulation also. Okay, H2 receptor stimulate the gastric acid secretion and it involves the cardiac stimulation. H3 receptor, feedback inhibitor in the CNS. Okay, we already know that this decreases the CAMP and that decreases the secretion and vasodilation and all, and histamine, this also decreases the histamine itself. Okay, so this is the feedback inhibitor in the CNS. Then antihistaminic. Okay, what is antihistamines? So antihistamine or histamine antagonist both are same. Okay, antihistamines and histamine antagonist both are same. So that drugs that block the action of histamine at H1, H2, H3, H4 receptor, that is called as histamine antagonist or antihistamines. Okay, the drugs that blocks the action of the histamine at H1, H2, H3, H4 receptor is called as antihistamines or histamine antagonist. Okay, the development of antihistamines begins by the discovery of piperoxam. Okay, the development of the antihistamines begins by the discovery of the piperoxam. After the discovery of the piperoxam, the development of the antihistamines begin. Okay, so drugs that inhibit the histamine release is also called as histamine antagonist. Okay, drugs that inhibit the histamine release is called as histamine antagonist. Or we can say drug that inhibit the action of released histamine. Okay, inhibit the action. Okay, first drug is that inhibit the histamine release, histamine that reduce the histamine release. Okay, and second is that reduce the action of the released histamine. Okay, first histamine was released. Okay, that blocks the action of the released histamine. Okay, that is H1 antagonist, H2 antagonist, H3 antagonist. Okay, and third one is drug have these both action. Okay, some drugs are having these both action. Okay, drugs having dual action. So this is the antihistamines or histamine antagonist. Okay, so general structure of the antihistamines. Okay, we have already seen that what is the structure of the histamine. Okay, So in that histamine, there must be a imidazole ring, okay, and one amino group that connected with two methyl group. That is the structure of the histamine. Here we are discussing about the general structure of the antihistamines. Okay, here we are discussing about the general structure of the antihistamine. Okay, so this is the general structure. Okay, so structural requirements of the antihistamines. Okay, antihistamines must have these qualifications. Okay, let's see what are they. AR, this AR stands for aryl. Okay, AR stands for aryl, that means phenyl group or substituted phenyl group, okay, or heteroaryl group like 2-pyridyl. Here this in the place of the AR there must be a phenyl group. Okay, this is the compulsory of the antihistamines. Okay, here must be a phenyl group or a substitute phenyl group or a heteroaryl group like 2-pyridyl. Okay, this is the must of the antihistamines. Then comes to the AR1. Okay, this is again must. There should be a second aryl or aryl methyl group. Okay, in antihistamines there should be a phenyl group or okay, there should be a phenyl group and second aryl or aryl methyl group, that must be. Okay, and X, this X stands for connecting atoms, oxygen, carbon and nitrogen, O, C or N. Here must be a okay, here must be a C or O or N, oxygen, carbon or nitrogen. So this is must present in the antihistamine structure. Then the CH2N. Okay, CH2N is carbon chain, usually ethyl. Okay, usually here ethyl presence in the antihistamines. Okay, so this is the carbon chain. Then NRR1. Okay, this NRR1. Okay, so this is the basic terminal amine functional group. Okay, this is the basic terminal amine functional group. Okay, so this is the structural requirement of the antihistamine. There should be a one phenyl group. Okay, one phenyl group or the substituted phenyl group, and second aryl group or aryl methyl group, and one atom of carbon, oxygen or nitrogen, and there must be a carbon chain, usually ethyl, and a basic terminal amine functional group. So this is the requirement of the antihistamines. Okay, so you have to remember that what are the requirements of the antihistamines. So drugs that block the histamine release. Okay, these are the drugs that blocks the histamine release. The first one is Kelin. Okay, the first one is Kelin and second one is cromolyn sodium. Okay, cromolyn sodium. So these drugs act by stabilizing the mast cells. Okay, these drugs, the Kelin and cromolyn, acts by the stabilizing the mast cells and inhibit the release of the histamine and other mediator of the inflammation. Okay, these Kelin and cromolyn act by the stabilizing the mast cells and inhibit the release of the histamine and other mediators of the inflammation. Natural product Kelin led to the development of this compound. Okay. Cromolyn nasal solution. Cromolyn is a nasal solution used for the prevention and treatment of the allergic rhinitis. Okay, so cromolyn is a nasal solution that is used for the prevention and treatment of the allergic rhinitis. Oral concentrate used to treat the histamine symptom of the mastocytosis. Oral concentration is also used that to treat the histaminic symptoms of mastocytosis. Okay, so this is the classification of the antihistamines. Okay, drug that block the released histamine. Okay, H1 antagonist, that is first generation drug. Okay, H1 antagonist. Okay, the classification of the antihistamines. First one is H1 antagonist, that is first generation drug. So H1 antagonists, these are the classical antihistamines. Okay, these are the classical antihistamines. These are clinically used in the treatment of histamine mediated allergic condition like allergic rhinitis, allergic conjunctivitis. Okay, so these are used when allergic rhinitis and allergic conjunctivitis occurs. Okay, so these are the clinically used in the treatment of histamine mediated allergic condition. So here I have given the classification of the H1 antagonist. Okay, H1 classification of the H1 antagonist. So first is amino alkyl ethers. Amino alkyl ether, ethylene diamine derivatives, propylamine derivatives, phenothiazine derivatives, piperazine derivatives. Okay, so these are the classification of the H1 antagonist. Okay, H1 antagonist classification. First one is amino alkyl ethers, ethylene diamine derivatives, propylamine derivatives, phenothiazine derivatives, piperazine derivatives. Okay, these are the classification. Here we are going to see amino alkyl ethers only. Okay. So amino alkyl ether is also known as ethanolamine. Okay, ethanolamine. Okay, this is also known as ethanolamine. So we have already know that what is the required the structure of the antihistamine. Let's see. Okay, here AR. Okay, phenyl group, aryl group. Okay, and what is this? So carbon group, oxygen or nitrogen group, ethyl group, and amino group. Okay, so this is the requirement of the structure of the antihistamines. So amino alkyl ethers, the drug name I have given here, AR is here, aryl group AR1 is here, R stands for the H, chemical name is here. So diphenhydramine. Okay, diphenhydramine, amino alkyl ether or ethanolamine. For example, first drug is diphenhydramine. Okay, we will see the synthesis of the diphenhydramine in the next class. So first drug is diphenhydramine. So diphenhydramine, in the place of AR there is a phenyl group. Here AR1, there is again a phenyl group. In the place of R there is the H. Okay, O is there, ethylene group is there, and CH3 is here. And the chemical name NN-dimethyl ethanamine. Okay, NN means NN-dimethyl ethanamine. Okay, NN dimethyl. This is dimethyl ethanamine. Okay, ethanamine, chemical name. Then doxylamine. Doxylamine, same. We can write here in the place of R, we can write CS3. Okay, so we can say its chemical name. Okay, its chemical name is 2-alpha 2-dimethylamine ethoxyl alpha methyl benzyl pyridine. So this is the chemical name of the doxylamine. Then next is clemastine. Okay, clemastine. So in the place of AR1, this will attach, and in the place of AR1, this will, in the place of AR, this attach, in the place of AR1, this will attach, and in the place of R, there is a methyl group. So the chemical name of the clemastine is 2214 chlorophenyl. This is chlorophenyl. Okay, 2214 chlorophenyl, 1-phenyl ethoxy, 1-phenyl ethoxy ethyl methyl pyrrolidine. Okay, pyrrolidine. Okay, so this is the chemical name of the clemastine. So structure activity relationship, SAR. Okay, SAR of the amino alkyl ether. Okay, SAR of the amino alkyl ether. So these are characterized by the presence of the oxygen connectivity moiety. Okay, in this ethylamine, we have already seen that there is a one oxygen. Okay, there is a one oxygen present in the amino alkyl ethers. Okay, amino alkyl ether. We are learning the SAR of the amino alkyl ether. So first point is there is a oxygen present in this structure. Okay. So these are characterized in amino alkyl ether. There must be a presence of oxygen connectivity moiety. Okay. Most compounds in the series are simple N dimethyl ethanolamine derivatives. Okay, all the compounds, most of the compounds in the amino alkyl ether are simple N dimethyl. Okay, N dimethyl means both phenyl group is there. Okay, both methyl. Okay, dimethyl group is present in almost every compound in the class of amino alkyl ether. Okay, so second characteristic is that first is oxygen moiety is there. Second is in almost all the compounds there must be a N dimethyl ethanamine. Okay, then clemastine differ from the basic structure pattern. Clemastine, because there is one chloride. Okay, clemastine differs from basic structure pattern because there is a fluoride. Okay, most amino alkyl ether, let me just, okay, this is the clemastine. Okay, clemastine, there is a chlorine and same pyrrolidine. Okay, this is the pyrrolidine structure and this is the chlorine. Okay, so this clemastine is differed from the other group. Most amino alkyl ethers are optically active. Okay, most amino alkyl ether in the amino alkyl, okay, most amino alkyl ethers are optically active. The drugs in the group possess significant and anticholinergic activity. Okay, these drug is used in the anticholinergic activity, which may enhance the H1 blocking action on exocrine secretion. Okay, these almost the amino alkyl ethers significantly acting on the anticholinergic activity that may enhance the H1 blocking action on exocrine secretion. Okay, these amino alkyl ethers have to penetrate the BBB, blood-brain barrier. Okay, this amino alkyl ethers have to penetrate blood-brain barrier and occupy central H1 receptor, resulting the drowsiness. Okay, this is the first generation drug. Okay, so this amino alkyl ether drug, these are the antihistamines that enters the blood-brain barrier and that results the drowsiness when we are taking any antihistaminic drug. Okay, example Avil. Okay, Avil and all. So when we are taking that tablet, we feel the drowsiness. Okay, we feel the sleepy. Yeah, okay, so this is the results of they are enters in our blood brain barrier and occupy central H1 receptor, and that results the drowsiness. So these all are about the antihistamine. First H1 antagonist antihistamines. Okay, and first drug is amino alkyl ether. Okay, we have only seen the first drug. Okay, that is first category, that is amino alkyl ethers, and we will see the synthesis of the diphenhydramine, how they synthesize. Okay, that will be in the next class. So these all are about the histamines, their receptors, and the antihistamines drugs. Okay, thank you.